Now, winning a game in Apex Legends is an amazing feeling, but if you're only doing it with 1 or 2 kills, there might be something that you feel is missing from your game. In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how to get more kills and how to feel fully satisfied that you're improving as an Apex player. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into the video. Hello everyone, how are you guys all doing today? My name is Mirko and welcome back to another video on the channel. So in today's video guys, I'm going to be telling you the most in-depth tips on how to get more kills in Apex Legends. So I just want to start off by saying, if you go ahead and enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like down below. Likes always appreciated and they help my videos out as well. So now with that out of the way, let's get into the first tip of this video. Now the first thing we're going to speak about is your first 5 minutes of the game. Now these first 5 minutes are absolutely crucial and this can determine whether you're going to get a few kills or whether you're going to get loads of kills in the game of Apex Legends. Now every game in Apex, there's always a hotspot on the map, so you want to make sure you're going straight to that. If that's quite far away, then you want to make sure you're checking where the other players are dropping. You want to drop in the most busiest place on the map, and you need to be prepared that you might die very early on, but more often enough, if you do find a weapon, then you're good to go, because you know there's going to be loads of enemies around you, and if you start playing smart and strategically, which we're going to speak about later on in the video, that you can start off the game by literally having about 5 kills within the first minute or 2 of the match, which will put you at a really good position to go on and get loads of kills, maybe 10 plus kills. And that beginning start is definitely a crucial part and probably the most important part of the game in order for you guys to get a lot of kills. The reason why it's harder to get more kills later on in the game is because more people start dying, there's less people on the map, and it turns into almost like a hide and seek game, and you're sort of trying to chase the kills, whereas at the start of the game you don't need to chase the kills, because if you land in them hotspots, then there's going to be people around you no matter what, and the kills are going to be there for you to grab. Now it's all good you knowing the places to land, where you should go at the beginning of a game, but when you have landed and you're set to go and get them kills, how do you actually get them kills without dying? Well, this is the part where we speak about the #1 tip in order to win gunfights, and that's know when you're winning or losing a gunfight. Now this takes a lot of skill, because you need to really start to analyse and realise within the first second or 2 whether or not you're going to win or lose the gunfight. Now just because you're trying to get a lot of kills, it doesn't mean you can't back off if you feel like you're not going to win the gunfight. So how do you know if you're winning or losing the gunfight? Well, this is actually really simple, and once you got used to this is like a crucial tip you can take in Apex Legends in any scenario when you're going against an enemy. So when you're engaging with an enemy at any part in the gunfight, you feel like the gunfight is turning into a 50-50 chance where it can go either way, that's enough for you to think you're going to back away from the gunfight, because you don't want to take that risk of a 50-50 chance. It's a flip of the coin and you could be ending back in the lobby before you know it. So you want to make sure you know there's probably about 70% chance of you winning the gunfight. If you feel like your bullets are inaccurate and you don't feel like you're being dealt a lot of damage, you feel like the enemies are missing their shots and you're putting your shots on target more often than they are, then you should just continue on with that gunfight. You got to make sure you're strafing. I've done a video specifically on strafing in the previous weeks. Strafing is basically moving your left analog left and right to avoid the bullets of your opponents, which helps you win them gunfights, and that's how you determine whether or not you feel like you're going to win the gunfight. Now if you do feel like you're losing the battle, within the first second or 2 you need to make sure you run to cover straight away. You know, you don't want to take that chance. As I said, you want to make sure you're surviving rather than going down. So if you do feel like at any part in that gunfight you have a hesitance, or you feel like you're going to lose the gunfight, just run to the closest cover, whether it be a rock, you know, building, anything to stop you from engaging in that gunfight. Instead of spraying and hoping for the best, you need to make sure you're aware of how much health your opponent has, and maybe it's best to back away, heal up, and then go at it again and just keep trying until you get the kill. I use this method every time I play Apex Legends and every time I'm engaging in a gunfight. The only time I engage is when I haven't got a choice and there's no cover next to me and I really can't do anything about it, but even then I try to make the most of my Legends abilities. You know, if I'm using Wraith, I'll press that L1 button to get out of trouble. If I'm using Bangalore, I'll put smokes on the floor. I'll do anything in order to stay alive and get the most kills I can. And the next thing we're going to speak about is hearing gunshots. Now, when you hear gunshots in a game, it doesn't matter how far you can hear them, that should be music to your ears, because that is a sign of you need to go to that area and you need to try and pick off the kills. Wherever you can hear gunshots, that's the area you need to head to. And most of the time, if they have engaged in a gunfight, they're probably looting up, so it's easy kills, or you're going to third party it. So either way, you're going to have the advantage going into their gunfight. Another thing I want to say as well is that you want to make sure you're looting up really fast. Now, you probably spend about half your game in Apex Legends just looting up and going to buildings looking for loot. But what you want to do is that when you've killed an enemy, you don't want to spend all of your time just looking and seeing what they have on offer. If you feel like you've got a good loadout, just take their ammo, take their meds, and then just head on to another place on the map which you feel like is going to be a high populated area. Because honestly guys, it does add up the amount of time you take trying to loot buildings, loot enemy death boxes. It honestly does stack up, and time is against you when you're trying to go for kills. In the meantime, you're looting up and you're taking ages, then you could be looking at the kill feed and there could be so many gunfights happening and you're missing out on that just because you're taking ages to loot up. So loot up and go. Now, I think halfway through the game it's probably the hardest part to get kills in Apex Legends, because there's not a lot of people on the map. You know, half the people are probably gone, and also the map is still quite large. You know, the ring is large as well, so that's the part where I think it's harder to find people. So you want to make sure you're running constantly, you know, to the high populated areas. You're not stopping, you know, looking around. You want to make sure you and the two other teammates are split up, not too far to the point where if you're being shot at they can't come to you quick enough, but you want to make sure you're about maybe 50 meters distance from each other, so it's easy to spot enemies in a distance. This is why it's so important to have a good start and land in really high populated areas, because if you get quite a few kills, then that takes the pressure off you halfway through the game. Maybe you don't need to get as many kills because you've already got loads of kills at the start. So it really does relieve the pressure slightly, and towards the late stage of the game it makes it much more easier because the ring is smaller and then more people start engaging with each other. But halfway through it's probably the dead part of the game where you just got to try and find people, and a lot of the time people are still looting up, and that's your chance to really take advantage of them kills. Especially when people are looting up, people aren't aware that you're there. You want to make sure that you don't let them run away, and maybe if people are not looking at you, try and get up closer to them to ensure that you actually manage to down them, because a lot of the time if you're engaging at mid to long range it's really hard to be accurate, and if they know that you're shooting at them it's really easy for them to just run away and disengage from the gunfight. Another really quick tip I want to give you guys is you want to make sure you're finishing off the enemies that you down, because a lot of the times, I'm sure you guys have seen it, you've probably downed 2 enemies, but it's so easy and it's so fast to be revived in this game. People can revive teammates so quickly, so you want to make sure you're downing them to ensure you've got the kill. I've also done the mistake in when I've downed an enemy, I look for their teammates, but instead you should ensure you just get the kill, because especially at mid to long range, you know for a full fact that they're going to be revived, and you downing them and doing all of that hard work would have been a complete waste of time and you wouldn't have got the kill for it. So anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope these tips have really helped you improve your game, and I want you guys to take these tips and integrate them into Apex Legends. Another reason why you should always try to get more kills in Apex is because it also helps you improve as a player. The more time you engage in gunfights, it will just help you improve, and when you do lose in a gunfight, you can just learn from their mistakes and hopefully not repeat that mistake when you're next going in a gunfight. When people always ask me, how do I get better at Apex Legends, the one thing I say to them is always engage in gunfights. You know, you're not trying to win the game. If you're trying to get better at the game, then just try and go for gunfights, try and look for gunfights, because that's what's going to help you improve. You know, if you're trying to camp the whole game and wait till the last stage, you're still going to have to go in a gunfight to finish off another team. So learning gunfights, learning how to finish off enemies will give you them skills and will give you that experience to do it on an often basis, and that's the one thing that's going to help you improve. Nothing else is going to help you improve at the game other than just going in and just engaging in gunfights. And the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it, and you'll start learning all the things you're doing wrong as well. Especially because the fact that you can't practice with people and there's no private games you can do. You can't go into a game with your friends and, you know, engage in gunfights. You have to do it in a real Battle Royale game. So my suggestion is every time you go in a game, if you're trying to improve, just go and get loads of kills. Try and just learn from gunfights. Practice makes perfect, guys. It really does. It's not a not saying for no reason. And if I never engaged in kills and always wanted to avoid engaging with opponents, I tried to camp the whole game, I would not be nowhere near as good as I am now. I'm not saying I'm a good player. I'd say I'm fairly average to decent player. But honestly, pro players as well, do you think they camp the whole game? No, they go out and try and get as many kills as they can, because getting kills is practice. You know, engaging with people is called practice, and practice makes perfect, as they say. So what are you not going to do when you next play a game of Apex Legends? You're not going to camp and avoid engaging in gunfights. You're going to go in and you're going to engage in every gunfight you see. You're going to hear them gunshots go off. You're going to go to them gunshots. You're going to absolutely smash it and hopefully get quite a few kills whilst you're at it. So anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you did enjoy this video, definitely drop a like down below. Likes always help my videos out. And if you're new to the channel, first of all I'd like to say welcome, and second of all I'd like to say be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of these future Apex tips, discussions, all of that good stuff. And I'm going to catch all of you guys out in another Apex Legends video. Thanks for watching, take care everyone.